Defenders of markets for organs often charge that the opponents of a market appeal to emotions of repugnance and disgust, the yuck factor. They often imply that the only grounds any reasonable person could have for rejecting a market would be such emotions. Well, tonight, we, the opponents of an organ market, will not appeal primarily to emotions. Indeed, I suspect that the proponents of a market will do so. Instead, we will offer solid ethical, social, and cultural reasons not to legalize a market in organs. We ask you to consider very carefully the reasons, the arguments for and against organ markets. Defenders of organ markets also tend to represent an extreme form of what I would call market fundamentalism. They suppose that anytime there's a problem, such as a shortage of organs, we should just throw that problem into the marketplace and magically, miraculously, the problem will be solved. Market fundamentalism neglects the full range of relevant social values, especially justice and fairness, which I will emphasize, and the probable negative effects of a market in organs, which my colleagues will stress. Markets are truly wonderful mechanisms, but they may not be the best mechanism for organ transfers. Defenders of organ markets appeal to two great social ethical values, very important ones. Liberty, people should be free to sell their body parts if they want to. Utility, a market in organs would produce the greatest good for the greatest number. Libertarians affirming liberty, utilitarians affirming utility, take these values and join together in an unstable alliance in support of a market in organs. But both neglect another equally important value, justice or fairness. As a result, they ignore or downplay the injustice or unfairness of exploiting poor and disadvantaged people as sources of transplantable organs. In illegal or legal organ markets, the main vendors are sellers. And yes, that's what they are. They're not paid donors. They're vendors and sellers. They tend to be poor and disadvantaged or desperate. Of course, we could devise a system of compensation for organs that would avoid some injustice and some unfairness by separating procurement from distribution. Take the unfairness of a rich person's purchase of organs. We can eliminate that by having a single purchaser of organs who would then distribute the organs according to a fair scheme, for example, to patients most in need. But we cannot avoid the poor, disadvantaged, desperate person's sale. And we should not introduce an organ market into a society with major and increasing inequalities in wealth and advantage. If we did so, we should not expect a positive outcome. Why not? Well, consider two possibilities. One possible target of an organ market or compensation system would be to increase the number of organs from dead people. Let's call those cadaveric organs. Another would be to increase the organs from living vendors. Some of the same objections apply to both. For example, financial compensation may crowd out donation, especially altruistic donation. But there are differences. Take first a cadaveric organ market. There are strong reasons to believe that compensation for cadaveric organs won't increase the supply. Imagine a futures market in organs where individuals contract to provide their organs after their deaths and in return receive a payment now or designate the payment to be provided after their deaths to their families or to a charity. Why wouldn't that work? It seems so obvious. Well, consider that many people don't sign donor cards now because of distrust or mistrust. They worry about being declared dead prematurely or even having their deaths hastened if they have signed a donor card. Well, they would certainly be reluctant to enter a futures market to sign a futures contract when the only barrier to the delivery of their organs is the fact that they're not dead yet. Or consider the family's sale. Individuals would have similar reasons to block families from making decisions because of conflicts of interest. and many families would be reluctant to be viewed as profiting from a family member's death. We do not need to try such a futile market. There are other options for obtaining cadaveric organs. Our current system works fairly well and can be improved. Indeed, we're second only to Spain in the number of deceased donor organs obtained per million population. And there are several potential improvements that we can make. Some are already underway. We can increase education and the use of donor cards and donor registries. And when individuals not made a decision, we can do a better job in approaching families after their deaths. Some institutions now obtain consent to donation from 70 to 75% of families of patients declared dead by neurological standards who are potential candidates for organ donation. And we can consider other sources, including those declared dead by cardiopulmonary standards. But now let's consider a living organ market, mainly for kidneys, since people can usually live and function well with only one of their two kidneys. In 2007, there were roughly 7,250 deceased kidney donors and 6,000 living kidney donors. A living organ market would probably work better than compensation with cadaveric organs, but there are other problems that my colleagues will emphasize. In conclusion, a market is not an idea whose time has come. A market in organs is a bad idea. It is unnecessary, probably ineffective, possibly counterproductive, and would breach our sense of justice by exploiting poor, disadvantaged, and desperate members of our society. Hence, we should not legalize a market in human organs.
Thank you, James Childress.